I'm going to have to pass these to you. They're in my way. So. Hi, this is Everetts Watercolors, and here we are this evening on Everetts Simply Painting with Everett, on Simply Drawing with Everett. I got that mixed up. I was doing it earlier today with another program. So Simply Drawing with Everett, welcome aboard, and I'm on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitch, and I'm in my studio with my wife Gloria tonight. And she'll be monitoring the broadcast. I got the chat room on live, so if you have any questions or comments during the broadcast, put them on the chat room, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. What I'm going to do tonight, we're going to go over another simple shape. I've done simple shapes the last couple periods, so this episode I want to go over the simple shape of triangles, and to make a pyramid, a three-dimensional pyramid. So let's go to my close-up camera. And I want to show you some shapes here. These are the shapes that I've developed here. These are pyramids. This is a four-sided pyramid, and this is a three-sided pyramid. And I did them in several colors and several different shapes. What I do is when I do a design, sometimes I'll make up a shape. And that helps me analyze from the angles and so forth, and I also put lighting on them. But here's how I divide, just a quick review here. What I did was I took a piece of paper and I drew the outline of the shape on a piece of paper. And then I traced this onto a piece of cardboard, and you can see you fold the sides up, and it turns it into a pyramid. So that's how they're done. That's for the four-sided pyramid, and then the three-sided pyramid is this. So you make your design of the shape, and then you use a piece of cardboard, and then glue it. I used a piece of tape. I taped around the edges. And then I took acrylic paint and painted the color on here. Okay. And this is the four-sided one. Same thing. I just put, it was a piece of cardboard, cut out the shape, and then cut out the shape, and then I folded it together, and then taped the edges with some tape, and then I painted the results with, painted on top with acrylic paint. Give me a nice texture. I really liked what they did, okay? And that gives me a chance, I can turn this thing at any angle I want for my drawing. That's the advantage of having a model. So you can make your own models depending on the shapes you're looking for. That's a model for a pyramid. Now, I had a couple, I'll give you an example here of a pyramid, and I'll just talk about this one. This is the building that I did a drawing of last weekend on a plein air, and it's got a triangular shape up here in the roof. So it's triangular shape. In fact, there's two triangles, and this happens to be a square building, so it has a square. This is a square pyramid angle, except it has longer sides on it. So you'll find all kinds of shapes like this in buildings and architecture and architectural items and things like that. So I may have time for this, but right now I want to get to doing a pyramid. So what I'm going to do is put this on the side. And so what I'm going to demonstrate tonight is drawing a pyramid. Now these are actual pyramids that are in Egypt. These are actually, I took a photograph online, found a photograph of the pyramids. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take these last two over here, the large one and the small one, and I'm going to draw those two shapes. I'm going to draw those two shapes. Now I got a piece of cardstock here, about 6 by 8 size, and I'm going to use that as my drawing material. Now the first thing I do is in all cases, I do sizing. So I take my sizing pencil here, my yellow number 2 pencil, and I'm going to measure the size from top to bottom, from the very top to the bottom, and then I compare that to the sides. You can see here, 1, and over to here. What you'll find out as you do this on a photograph or an actual item, you'll find that the size of the height and the width turned out to be twice, from here over the center over to the other side. So I start out with a shape. I'll take my block in pencil. I'm just going to block it in. I'll do a darker mark when I just want to show you how I get started. So I start out with a bottom line here, and I'm going to estimate the height up here. Just start up here. So I know the height, and I'm going to measure it. The height. And if I take the center here, and I come down, the center, that's the height of the center, and I know the width of the pyramid. Let's see, I can put there. The width of the pyramid is going to be twice the height. That's what I start out with. Okay, now, now I got the parameters. I got the height and I got the width. I'm taking off a siding here. Now, the other thing I've got to do is locate the center. Now, you'll notice on the photograph that the center of the peak does not fall exactly in the center of the bottom. In fact, you come down here, and I can mark a little mark right there, and I measure that with a pencil. Let's see what I do there. I'm going to estimate, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take, it is not. This is the left corner. I'm going to come over and estimate where that one section is right here, okay? And I'm going to measure that. And that distance there is about twice the distance to the center, or to the peak. So now I've located my peak, which will be about right here. So I'm going to go vertical to the peak area. And I'm going to remeasure the side again. I'm going to do this angle here. I'm going to sight this angle. I'm going to sight this height here. I'm going to measure this here from the peak to here. 1, 2, 3. So this size here is about 1/3 of the way across. I'm doing some rough estimates here to get the drawing started. Okay. So what I've measured, I've got the baseline, I got the height. The height is, the baseline is twice the length, twice the size of the height. Height is this angle, a size, this is the base. Then I estimated the location of one side, and I broke this up into thirds down here at this base from this point to this point. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and draw this in. I'm going to do a rough drawing first before I do a final drawing, just to see what it looks like. So I'll go from here to the point, to that point, and I'm going to go from here to the far side. Here to the far side. Okay. All right. Now, if I look at the photograph, you can see that the center of the peak is a little bit a bit off center, so it's off to the left over here. That's okay. And this one over here, I got this angle pretty good. So I'm just eyeballing this in. This is the long side, and this side over here. Okay, let's get the small triangle. Let's get the small. I'm going to put this behind a little bit. Now the same thing happens here on the smaller one. The height of the pyramid is half of the width. Okay, so if I'm going to estimate this height there. The height is about from here to there is about 2/3 of that. So 2/3 of this I'll come across 2/3 of the height. That's going to be the height of the smaller pyramid. Okay. So relative size, this one here is going to be 2/3 the height of this one. This is 2/3 the height of this. So I'll bring that over. I estimate it here, 2/3, bring it over. Then the width, the peak. Now come down here. I'm sighting again. The peak of this one here goes right to the base of the larger pyramid. So I can take this angle here. That gives me the peak of the pyramid right there. That's the peak. Because I see here from observation that angle right, that distance there is the same position as the peak, right at the very base. So I can locate that. And then I can estimate this height up here, just doing a little bit of just observation, take of that. And then this one here, I've already measured this one out. Twice the width, so I'm going to go out here and do, got the height. That's the center over here. Let's see, that one's off. Center over here. And I also put this. The top here is not exactly in the center of the base, just like it is on this one. So that's an estimate. That's an estimate. Okay, so those are the two pyramids drawn. I got the large one in, and I got the smaller one in. Now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to use the special colors now. I'm going to go ahead and use my Holbein pencil set, and this happens to be 150 colors I have. And I'm going to start with the yellow ochre. This is yellow ochre. I'm going to start with a yellow ochre, and I'm going to color this one in. And before I get too far, I'm going to erase the construction lines. So I'll take my handy eraser here and erase the construction line I had for this one. I don't need these construction lines either. Erasing those construction lines because I want this whole color all the way across. So this is yellow ochre out of the colored pencil set. And so this is the lighter side of the pyramid, the front side. It's lighter than the side over here. So I'm going to use the yellow ochre, which is a lightest color I'm starting with. Now let me move this around a little bit. So I'm using the side of the colored pencil to put the color in. That spreads out the color. The side of the lead spreads out the color much better. So I'm actually going to be drawing in the colors now. I've got using a colored pencil on top of the drawing I have to give me the shape. I'll put a little more color in there so it shows up better. So go over it a couple times with, I'm doing a cross hatching. I'm going across horizontally and then going vertically. And then covering the edges very nicely. Okay. I can put just a little bit of yellow ochre over here. But then I'm going to pick up, let's see, I want to use a darker brown. So I'm going to pick up this brown color, which it happens to be burnt sienna, and or burnt umber. This is burnt umber, which is a little darker brown. Because if you look at the photograph, this side's a little bit more in shadow over here. So I'm going to put a little burnt umber here on top of the yellow ochre. So the shadow side will be a little darker than the front side. So I'm using a little bit of yellow ochre along with the burnt umber pencil. Okay, so that's the large triangle. Now this triangle over here, this color is a little bit not quite the same as the other one, so I'm going to start out with, let's see. This one is this one's bronze, so I'm going to put that one in. It's a little bit browner, not as light as the yellow ochre. I'll put that one in there and fill in the space with colored pencil. Okay, and then I'm going to get the dark one. I can use the I think I'll use the burnt umber again back here. It's a little bit darker, so I can go. I'll make a little shade. I'll put a little more pressure on the pencil, make a little shade darker on this particular one, because in the photograph it's got a little more shadow on it. Okay, so what I've done there is I've drawn the two shapes and I've gone ahead and colored them in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a special blender, and I've got a little plastic dish here I'm going to use, and this is a Holbein product called Melts Blender. These are the Holbein Artists Colored Pencils. This whole set of 150 color whole set of artist quality colored pencils, and then Holbein also has a blender, which is a water-based product, and I'll show you how it works. We're going to just take this. I'll put a little bit of it's water. It's like a couple drops of it here on this little tray, and then I have a water pen here, which has got plain water in it. Just a water pen. That's just called a water brush. It's got water inside the tube. so it's self-contained. So this is water soluble, and I'm going to go ahead now. You start with a lighter color here. I'm going to go ahead and blend in the yellow ochre that I did. You can see right away how quickly it blends. It blends right away. So this melts as a liquid blender for the colored pencil. There's other blenders out there which I've used, but I found this to be very useful. When I'm finished, it'll look almost like watercolor because it changes the colored pencil into a watery watery look. Let me show you. I'll get up close and let's take a look at that. Okay, and then I'll continue on with the shadow side here. It's a little darker, and I'm putting the melts right on top of that. And again, there's a lot of water in here, so the mixture of the melts and water is very nice. It's water soluble, and with this water pen, it's very convenient, very portable. You can carry this almost anywhere with the colored pencils, and be able to mark off on a piece of watercolor paper. You could use watercolor paper or any kind of good heavy stock. I would say heavy cardstock would work well. I'd say more than 60-pound paper. Now I'm going to go over to the smaller triangle or smaller pyramid, and this was a different. Remember, this was the I used the gold, or bronze. I used the bronze over here on this one. It's a little darker yellow gold. Trying to match the colors here on the photograph is all I was trying to do there. And then the shadow side on this was a little darker over here, so I used I put a little more pressure on here. I got a little darker value over here on this particular one here. Okay. Well, let's take a look at the results. I think you'll see there that it turned out pretty effective as far as the coloring goes and as far as the shape. Now look at the photograph. Look at the photograph of the larger one with the angle and the shape, and the photograph here. Look at the smaller one, and I messed up on the angle on that. Let's see if I can correct that. What I'll do is I'll try to dry that off a little bit, and I will take that yellow ochre and that should have come in here. The pencil mark was wrong. So I'll redo that. A little bit. Now I'm going over the melt, so I'm putting another layer on top of what I just did, which is also very helpful. Now I'll go back in with that darker brown on the left side. I'll put a much darker value in there. So I made a little error there when I drew that in. That was my mistake. And I'm just trying to correct it a little bit. And I don't think it will come off with an eraser. I can try. And then put that yellow back in. And then I can darken up that just a little bit more over here. Make this much darker over here. So I'm making a correction here on the fly. I could have probably scraped it off a little bit with a knife or something, but I decided to go ahead and try to go over it. And I can make this a little darker over here. So now I'm adding the colored pencil over top of the first layer. I'm putting a second layer on to darken it up just slightly. Okay, now let's go ahead and put some more melts on that. I'll put the melts back on. Let's see what happens now. The lighter color was over here. Spread that out. A light yellow on this side. Let's get this dark one over here. Okay. I'm gonna bring my other example over here just a second. This is a sample of what I did earlier. I did the same drawing on a little bigger scale of the pyramids, but this is 140 pound watercolor paper, and I drew in all three pyramids over here on this one. And what I did was I drew in the large one first, then the second one, the smaller one over here in the back, and then the third one off to the left. Overlapped slightly and put that over here with again a different angle on it. So I did this on a piece of watercolor paper, drew it in first with pencil, then drew it in with the colored pencils, and went in with the melts blender, and I put the blue sky around the outside, almost like the photograph is. So you could add blue around here for the sky, and I put some sand color down here, the yellow ochre and the burnt umber colors down here in the sand, to give us some texture and some look of sand color at the bottom. Okay. So drawing a pyramid, what I'd like to just review again is that when you start at the top, I'm going to use the marker for. I'm going to use a Sharpie. Start at the top, and when you go down and do the front side of the triangle or the pyramid, you're going to find this side is a little bit longer because of the angle we're facing. Depends on the photograph we have. Then this side over here is going to angle back slightly, so that the pyramid will appear in 3-dimension when you put the shading in and so forth and so. And on the little one we did, I found the peak over here by the corner. It was 2/3 of the height, and then I estimated this angle here, and this angle I estimated those, and then the width there was twice the height. So this angle here would come. The center would be over here. Let's see, yeah, the center would be over here. So this would come out like this. So when you're looking at those pyramids from an angle over here, this side's going to look a little bit longer because of the angle we're looking at. And when I made those models, I took a look at that, and that's exactly when we take a picture of something, this angle is going to look longer because of the angle we're looking at as far as the pyramid is concerned. Okay, I'm going to take you back to the main camera. Hey, there was I had a little problem with that. I forgot the line I stuck in there, and I guess I got carried away with putting the shading in and so forth. But at this point, if you go back and review what I did, the triangle and the pyramid works together, And on the three-dimensional side, one side is going to look a little shorter than the other because of the three-dimensional size, the three-dimensional angle that you're looking at. So the photograph is good, and the drawing you can work at. And I gave you some examples of the angles and the widths of the sides against the height, and then finding another place to measure. And what I was doing, I was measuring angles here, and so forth. So that concludes my presentation tonight for the triangle and doing the pyramid. And I did those models out of a piece of paper and a piece of cardboard, and then I taped them together and then painted them. That makes it a good way to do a three-dimensional three-dimensional model. I've done this several times when I'm doing paintings and so forth. I'll make a model out of whatever I need, whether it's a box or a square or whatever. And this happens to be the three-sided pyramid, which is very interesting also. What I've done is when I was doing a painting, and say I was working on a building with a structure, say the balcony or say a rooftop or something, then I made up a model, a scale model out of a piece of cardboard and paper, and taped it together the angle I wanted to see, and it helped me do the painting or do the drawing of the painting that I needed to get the proper perspective. So doing a model ahead of time is very helpful. So I'll be back again next week at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I come on earlier also. I'm on at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time next Thursday also, doing some watercolor painting. So I'll see you next week. Happy drawing, and see you next week, hopefully. Bye.